Feuchamaich, ye Olde Scots, the Celtic podcast. Kimraha Huladunya, how is everyone? On today's show in Feuchamaich, Beagan, Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try Little Gaidhlig. Lesson 11, Colours. In Celtic history, St. Brigid of Ireland, Imbolc. In everyday Celtic ways, the Celtic Creation story. We're going to hear music from Anna MacDonald, Emily Smith, Joy Dunlop, Monrin, and Starren. And if you're seeing this, you already know about Ye Olde Scot's YouTube channel and the Facebook group. But you may not know that we are experimenting with an online Celtic music radio station. We play Celtic music all day, with a few short programs to intrigue the listener to visit our other social media platforms. Then, after this, is what I love. We play soothing Celtic music designed to lull you asleep all night. I don't think I've made it past the third or fourth song yet. So check out the link below or the link pinned to the top of the Facebook page and tell all your friends about Celtic music all the time on Ye Olde Scot Celtic Music Radio. Learn the history of Gaelic songs as you learn to sing them. Gaelic and English lyrics are provided to give you a deeper understanding of the song, to guide you when you're learning, or just sit back and enjoy these beautiful songs. Welcome to Learn a Gaelic Song. Today's song is An Elevan by Monrin. Now, Donald MacDonald was a North US stonemason, a veteran of the First World War, and a legendary war poet in the Gaelic language. He's best known for the song An Elevan, the White Swan, which he composed during the Battle of the Somme. An Elevan is about a wounded World War I soldier in the trenches who is writing these words to his love, Maggie MacLeod. He is uncertain he will even make it, but feels compelled to tell her of his plight, for she is what he is mindful of at this moment. He explains the misery all around him, the death and destruction. He left the islands an idealistic young man and changed very quickly with the reality of war. He is reminded of the promise he made to marry her on his return, and that gives him hope even though death surrounds him. The good news is that he does survive and he does marry Maggie MacLeod. Now there's a wonderful interview on BBC Alba about this remarkable man and his song. Just search North US Scotland and Elevan and it'll take you right to it. All right, remember, Gaelic at the top, English at the bottom. Get ready.
Gyrtylich lamar hami smochriën sasik bram Vonen oorjak mi beyond the night Glauben en wannerein en lochne marsen strom Signale vanatare gachlar vel min dor Vagin abitur sacheru mit evig bahas Konfere mesken loje vares buon gebracht Hanjen shinjele gacher chosh marihan buon pas Verschieten henne blian schies Snacht gegrien in nacht Han halle verlier min host Jiem na vi allen sus ninjor Ekne schelse bolle hallir lekja Kun gelassen ja kijk mag los en leef voor mij voor de woord Ach get Troyara Amos Muachine Niklo Fake me not just in Yachim Marachok Bishines can I have Vakines Bilen Blood Tashfok Smayouten is be Pajigu Lefan Mit Vyor Valat hennerun nad lebi khuri vla Kados ava hene khos daguske sundosla A mission show Snatraishi asnam khlosen fuahim vash Fine house, le boy, I'm one hopon
Celtic history brings you the tales of the land, castles, warriors, heroes, legends, and customs that have created the rich, vibrant, and sometimes strange and wonderful history of the Celtic world. Imbolc, Candlemas, or as it's known, St. Brigid's Day, is well known as a Celtic tradition stemming from Neolithic Ireland and Scotland, celebrating the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Imbolc, or Candlemas, is a celebration of light and the first spark of spring. It is associated with the goddess Brigid, or the Exalted One. She was the Irish goddess of spring, fertility, and life. Beloved by poets, she was the master of both healing and smithing. Her holiday, Imbolc, was held on February 1st and marked the midpoint of winter. Feasts were had, holy wells were visited, and it was a time to try to figure out the length of winter. Now, although many of its customs died out in the 20th century, it is still observed by some Christians as a religious holiday and by some non-Christians as a cultural one. And its customs have been revived in some places. Saint Brigid is the patron saint of poets, but that's not all. She's also the patron saint of midwives, newborns, Irish nuns, fugitives, blacksmiths, dairymaids, boatmen, chicken farmers, cattle, scholars, sailors, and many more. She is also, along with St. Patrick and St. Columba, one of the three patron saints of Ireland. St. Brigid shares a name and maybe more with the Celtic goddess. St. Brigid was born in 451 on Dundalk in Ireland and died in 525. Now, she was born to a Christian slave noted as a druid who had been baptized by St. Patrick, and a father who is both pagan and a wealthy chieftain in Leinster. She shares a name with the Celtic pagan goddess of fire. She was a slave from birth, but has returned to her father as a child to be his servant. Now, Brigid was known for her generous nature. She was freed from a life of bondage after her father, named Duach, tired of her giving away all his possessions to the needy. Duach had brought Brigid to the king of Leinster, and he intended on selling her. Now, while her father spoke to the king, Brigid gave away Duach's jeweled sword to a leper, enraging her father, but prompting the Christian king to recognize her holiness. The king declared that her father should leave her alone, for her merit before God is greater than ours, he said, freeing Brigid to follow her faith. Now, Brigid would go on to become a nun and a disciple of St. Patrick. She founded several monasteries, including a vital center of religion and learning in Kildare, as well as a school of art that taught metalwork and illumination. The ornate beauty of an illuminated manuscript done by the scholars of Kildare prompted a medieval scholar to say, "All this is the work of angels, not human skill." Now, sadly, the book has been lost for centuries, but today, the Cathedral of Kildare stands on the site of one of her early churches. February 1st was originally celebrated as a pagan festival called Imbolc, marking the midpoint between winter equinox and spring solstice, and the arrival of longer, warmer days. February 1st is when the daffodils start to bloom, the evenings start to lengthen, and the gloom of winter goes on its way. Brigid would be symbolically welcomed into Irish homes on that day, with a symbolic offering of food and drink. And it is also traditional to make St. Brigid's crosses out of rushes, which is a straw-like plant. So people believed in olden days that these crosses would protect their thatch homes from fire. Brigid also has a special place in the hearts of brewers of ale. Like many women of her time, Brigid was a brewer, and several of her miracles are associated with beer. In those days, beer was regarded as a sanitary, more nutritious alternative to water. Now, once asked for help by a party of thirsty lepers, Brigid spotted some bath water being prepared, and after she blessed the water, it was transformed into beer. Similarly, she once transformed dirty bath water into clean beer for a visiting priest. Her fondness for beer is commemorated in this delightful poem from the 10th century. I'd like to give a lake of beer to God. I'd love to the heavenly host to be tippling there for all eternity. I'd love the men of heaven to live with me, to dance and sing. If they wanted, I'd put at their disposal vats of suffering. White cups of love I'd give to them, with a heart and a half. Sweet pitchers of mercy I'd offer to every man. I'd make heaven a cheerful spot, because the happy heart is true. I'd make the man contented for their own sake. I'd like Jesus to love me too. I'd like the people of heaven to gather from all the parishes around. I'd give a special welcome to the women, all the three Marys of great renown. I'd sit with the men, the women, and God, there by the lake of beer. We'd be drinking good health forever, and every drop would be a prayer. Oh, I like that.
When below. She's bound hand and foot, ready overboard to throw. She's bound hand and foot, ready overboard to throw. And she'll never see her bonny Caledonia. Captain away, say the fair mate he has gained. Sis, what is the reason that you're lying here so long? And what is the reason that you're lying here at all? For you've paid your passage dear to Caledonia. Oh, said the lassie, oh, it's me, that ever I was born to hardships far to see. For the sailor's got a lassie he likes better far than me, and it causes me to wait for Caledonia. So the captain away to the sailor he has gained. He's ta'en him by the neck and him overboard is thrown, saying, "Take this cup of water, though the liquor be but small, and drink your lassie's health to Caledonia." They've sailed east and they've sailed west until they reached the land that they all loved the best. For the waves they did roar and the seas they did beat, and they've all arrived safe to Caledonia. Well, they had not been there but 3/4 so a year, when in fine silks and satins he's made her for to wear. When in fine silks and satins he's made her for to go. Now she's the captain's wife in Caledonia. Now she's the captain's wife in Caledonia.
Everyday Celtic Ways brings you the mythology, traditions, and customs that have created a unique and personal culture that still affects those that are Celtic and those that just love the Celtic world. The Celtic Creation story. Now, long ago, the great void produced a god and a goddess named Don and Danu. When they looked at each other, a sacred flame burned in their hearts. They locked into a loving embrace from which they could not be separated. After a while, Don and Danu bore children. The children were caught between their interlocked parents and couldn't escape. One of the sons, Brian, decided that he needed to separate his parents or he and his brothers would die. Danu's love for her son won over her love for her husband, and she allowed Brian to slay his father. Now, Brian's fury was so great that he cut his father into 9 parts. Danu was horrified by what she had seen and started to cry. Her tears swelled into a great flood that swept away all of her children to earth. This is how Danu became known as the Waters of Heaven. The waters also washed away the 9 parts of Don. His head became the skies, his brain the clouds, his face the sun, his mind the moon, his bones the stones, and his breath the wind. Don's blood mixed with Danu's tears and became the seas. The red acorns fell to earth. Danu recognized her beloved in one of them. She cried again, and her tears soaked into the dry earth and made the seeds grow. The red acorn took root and grew into a marvelous oak tree. It was the reincarnation of Don. The other seeds became a priest, brother to Don. His name was Finn. Don saw his beloved Danu up above in heaven and stretched out his branches to the skies, trying to dry her tears with his leaves. Nurtured by the waters of heaven, the oak grew many berries, which fell and grew into the first humans. The people who grew from these berries were lazy because they couldn't die. There was no reason to do anything. Slowly, they became lazier and lazier until they began to rot from the inside. Don asked the advice of his brother Finn. "What do people need?" And Don replied, "What people do need is death," he said. "There must be renewal in the world." But Don didn't like this idea, and the two brothers started to fight. They fought long and hard. Finally, Finn was killed. Seeing his brother dead at his feet, Don was so overcome with pain that his heart burst apart. Parts of his body fell everywhere, and this renewed the world. But death did come to mankind. When Don died, 3 mighty roots of the oak grew deep into the ground, creating the other world, a place where people go after death. Don became the god of the underworld, while Danu remained the goddess of heaven. To this day, their great love continues, even as they are separated by the earth.
Rain on my window pane. It's just another Glasgow night. The trees, oh, they throw shadows in the fire of those street lights. But I'm on the inside now, I'm on the inside looking out. And through all this glass and rain, I can barely make you and there's that rain on my window pane. It's just another, oh, another spring night. When, oh, it encircles us, strong arms through the night. But I'm on the inside now, and it's safe and warm tonight. And I'll count each raindrop as money in my hand. There's still rain on my window pane. It seems now every night's the same. And I lie quietly counting teardrops through the rain. But I'm on the inside now, I'm protected from this rain. Even the shadows burn, and all my tears can't quench this flame. Even the shadows burn, and all my tears can't dry this flame. All my tears can't quench this flame. All my tears can't dry this one little flame.
Scottish Gaelic is native to the Gaels of Scotland. Scottish Gaelic developed out of the Old Irish, and learning this beautiful language can be a direct link to your Gaelic ancestors. Follow along in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaelic, and like I said, let's try a little Gaelic. Alright, we're in the 25-part Gaelic lesson. We're doing lesson 11, which is on colors, and as always I'll display on the screen what I am discussing. First part is some helpful vocabulary and some sentences that'll get you through. Alright, da is color. J da aha air. What color is blank, whatever you want to put in there. J da aha show. What color is this? J da aha shin. What color is that? J da aha esulin. What color is her eyes? I guess that could be what color is its eyes. Say you were being attacked by a monster and you were just curious. Alright. And unda, the same color. Or the one color, literally. Alright. Fout, which is hair. Sul, which is eye. Sulin, which is eyes. Kluisk, pillow. Ban, which is fair and pale. And Dorka, which is dark. Alright, we're going to move straight on into the colors. And what's funny is the first three in this list are not really colors. They're shades and tints. But most people think of black and white and gray as colors. So there you go. First one is black, which is dew. White, which is gale. Gray, which is glass. Sometimes that also refers to being green. You have red, which is Gaidhlig. Scarlet, which is scarlet. Crimson, which is Gaidhlig. Pink, which is pink. Yellow, which is booyah. Also can mean fair. Orange, which is orange. Dark blue, which is gordum. And it can also mean the green that's kind of like azure. Okay. You have light blue or gray, which is Leah. And that gets used for gray as well. Turquoise, which is Turquoise or Turquoise. Navy blue is Duholm. Green is Uanya. Brown is Don. Reddish brown is Rua, which is also used for like reddish hair. Purple is Purpy. Indigo is Gordamine. Mauve is Leah Furpy. And gold is Vuya, or just sometimes it's just or. Alright, sometimes you'll see the same names for different colors in different areas. Don't get too concerned about this. It has to do with dialects and the context. Alright. So that's it for colors. But we're going to give you like 6 sentences to translate. Get you using those words again. So, number 1, Jeda aha er achlusik. 2, ha e chlusik jerik. 3, nakel an ku don. 4, hanil ha an ku du. 5, Jeda aha e sulan. 6, Jeda aha u halt. If you're already a subscriber to the Olde Scot YouTube channel and enjoy the variety of interesting videos and podcasts that we produce weekly, then you should join us on the Olde Scot Facebook group. Not only do you get all the great videos you already enjoy, but so much more. Come and connect with your Celtic community here on Olde Scot Facebook group.
Goodbye, Apple Baby. Masha Weave.
Goodbye, everybody. But I'm going to let you go with a song.
Arendra Hrevi Arendeo Arendra Hrevi Arendreo Arendra Hrevi Arendeo Ahran Yendahiraro Thy life Sophie loves sich for you Thy life Sophie loves sich for you Thy life Sophie loves sich for you Strugen you vegan tree loving Arendra Hrevi Arendreo Arendra Hrevi Arendreo Arendra Hrevi Horendreo Horen Kindar